Hello, everyone, and welcome back. I'm so grateful you have joined me today, and I can't wait to dive into something that has the power to change your life. There are moments in life when the weight of pain feels unbearable. The kind of pain that doesn't just touch your emotions, but shakes the very foundation of your soul. Heartbreak is real, it is raw, it is deep. But there is a truth greater than your pain. God can handle your broken heart. You may feel abandoned, betrayed, or forgotten. But I want to remind you, God is not afraid of your brokenness. He is not overwhelmed by your tears, and He does not run away when life shatters you into pieces. He is the healer, the mender, the restorer. The world may tell you that once something is broken, it loses its value, but in the hands of God, broken things become the foundation for something greater. Pain is not permanent. It may feel endless, but it is only a season. And just like every season changes, this too shall pass. The enemy wants you to believe that your heartbreak is the end of your story, but God says it is only a chapter. The greatest stories are written in ink that was once tears. The greatest victories are born from the deepest wounds. You may feel like your heart is shattered into pieces too small to be restored, but let me tell you, God does not need perfection to do His work. He takes the broken, the wounded, the lost, and He builds something beautiful. If you place your pain in His hands, He will turn it into purpose. What was meant to destroy you will become the very thing that strengthens you. Temptation is dangerous. When pain comes, the temptation is to withdraw, to close your heart, to build walls. But walls don't just keep pain out, they also keep healing out. When you shut yourself off from God, you shut yourself off from the one who can heal you. Don't let your brokenness push you away from the presence of the one who can restore you. He is closest to the brokenhearted. He hears your cries even when you have no words left to pray. Your broken heart is not a burden to God. He loves you in your weakness. He loves you in your doubt. He loves you when you are struggling to believe. You don't have to fix yourself before coming to Him. Come as you are, and He will do the fixing. Healing is not about pretending you are strong. It's about surrendering your weakness to the one who is. Your heart is not a stone, it is a seed. It may feel crushed, but even a crushed seed can produce life when placed in the right soil. What looks like the end is often the beginning. What feels like destruction is often preparation. Sometimes God allows breaking because He knows what will come after. It is far greater than what was before. Pain may feel permanent when you're in the middle of it. It wraps itself around your heart, making you believe that the weight will never lift, that the ache will never fade. But emotions are like waves. They rise, they crash, and eventually they recede. What seems unbearable today will not hold the same power tomorrow. Pain is a season, not a life sentence. When a storm hits, it feels endless. The skies darken, the winds howl, and the rain beats down relentlessly. But no storm lasts forever. The clouds will part and the sun will shine again. In the same way, the pain that feels overwhelming now will not last. It is a process, not a prison. Just because it hurts today does not mean it will hurt forever. Pain has a way of convincing you that this is the end, that you will never laugh again, that joy will never return. But look at history. Look at your own life. There were moments before when you thought you wouldn't make it, yet here you are. The wounds that once felt impossible to heal have become scars, reminders of battles you've won. Nothing in life is stagnant, just as the body naturally heals a cut. The heart, too, is designed to recover. It may take time, but healing is inevitable. Every broken heart, every wounded soul, every shattered dream carries within it the potential for renewal. Pain may linger, but it will not define you. The depth of your sorrow today does not determine the height of your joy tomorrow. Time moves forward and so will you. When something is broken, the world often discards it. People throw away what they no longer find useful, what seems too damaged to repair. But God does not operate like the world. He specializes in restoration. He does not see brokenness as an end, but as an opportunity to create something even greater. What others reject, He redeems. What seems beyond repair, He rebuilds. A broken heart, a shattered dream, a life that feels like it has fallen apart, these are not obstacles for God. They are invitations for Him to do His greatest work. He takes what is wounded and makes it whole. He takes what is lost and brings it back to purpose. There is no damage too deep, no failure too great, no pain too heavy that He cannot restore. Think of a master artist working on a masterpiece. If a canvas is torn, he does not throw it away. Instead, he mends it, reworks it, and turns it into something even more beautiful. In the same way, God does not discard you because of your brokenness. He does not look at the pieces of your life and see something worthless. He sees potential. He sees a future. He sees a story of redemption waiting to be told. Restoration is not about returning to what was, it is about becoming something even greater. What was lost can be replaced with something better. What was broken can become stronger than before. God does not simply put the pieces back together, He transforms them. He creates beauty from ashes, joy from mourning, and strength from weakness. Whatever has been taken from you, whatever has been damaged, know this: in the hands of God, restoration is not just possible, it is inevitable. Pain is never without meaning. Every wound, every scar, every heartbreak carries a lesson, a purpose, a transformation waiting to unfold. It may not make sense in the moment, but nothing in life happens without reason. The wounds you carry are not just marks of suffering, they are evidence of survival, proof that you have endured what was meant to break you. A wound is not just an injury, it is a doorway to growth. It stretches you, forces you to dig deeper, to find strength you never knew you had. Growth does not come from comfort. It comes from struggle, from pressure, from being pushed beyond what feels bearable. The deepest pain often produces the greatest wisdom. Those who have been broken and rebuilt understand life in ways others never will. They carry an empathy, a resilience, a depth that cannot be taught, only experienced. A wound in the right hands can become a tool. God does not waste pain. What hurts you can be the very thing that helps someone else. The lessons you learn in your darkest moments can become the light that guides another. The suffering you endure today may be the strength someone else needs tomorrow. No great leader, no great teacher, no great healer has ever walked through life without wounds. It is through brokenness that compassion is born. It is through hardship that character is refined. The purpose of a wound is not to destroy you, but to shape you. A cut in the hands of a surgeon is not an injury, it is a step toward healing. The same is true for the wounds in your life. What was meant to harm you in the hands of God can become the very thing that elevates you. When pain enters your life, the first instinct is often to withdraw, to shut down, build walls, and keep people at a distance. Isolation feels like protection. It feels like the safest way to avoid further hurt. But what seems like a refuge can quickly become a prison. The longer you stay in isolation, the more you feed the lie that no one understands, that no one cares, that healing is impossible. Pain thrives in silence. It grows in the darkness of loneliness, where there is no truth to challenge it. When you isolate yourself, you give your wounds the power to define you. You replay the hurt, relive the betrayal, and reinforce the belief that you are alone. But you were never meant to heal alone. Healing happens in connection. Restoration comes when you bring your brokenness into the presence of God and into the presence of those who can lift you up. God never created people to function in isolation. Even from the beginning, He declared that it was not good for man to be alone. Community is not just a social construct, it is a divine design. There is strength in togetherness, comfort in shared burdens, and wisdom in godly counsel. The enemy knows this, which is why his strategy is always to separate, to divide, to keep you hidden in your pain. Because an isolated heart is a vulnerable heart. The pain you carry may make you want to retreat, but the very thing you are running from connection is the key to your healing. You don't have to share your wounds with everyone, but you must not lock them away. Let trusted people speak life into you. Let God's presence remind you that you are never alone. Isolation magnifies pain, but connection leads to restoration. Love is often measured by performance in this world. People love when you are strong, when you have it all together. when you meet their expectations. But the love of God is different. It does not waver when you fall. It does not diminish when you fail. It does not withdraw when you are broken. God loves you not because of what you do, but because of who he is. And his love is never stronger than when you are at your weakest. Weakness does not repel God, it draws him closer. He is not like people who may walk away when you struggle. He does not get tired of your battles, nor does he abandon you when life overwhelms you. When you are at your lowest, he is at his nearest. When you are too weak to stand, he carries you. When you have no words left to pray, he hears the silent cries of your heart. He does not love you less when you are broken. In fact, he draws near to the brokenhearted. The world teaches you to hide your weakness, to mask your struggles, to pretend you are okay even when you are not. But God never asked for perfection. He asked for surrender. He wants you to come to him as you are, not as you think you should be. Weakness is not a disqualification, it is an invitation. An invitation to experience his strength, his grace, his power working in you. Your lowest moment is not your identity. Your failures do not define you. His love does. And that love does not fluctuate with your emotions, your mistakes, or your struggles. You may feel unworthy, but his love does not depend on your worthiness. It is constant, unshaken, and everlasting even in your weakest state. Your heart is not made of stone. It was never meant to be hardened, cold, or unmovable. It is a seed alive, capable of growth, filled with potential. A stone remains the same no matter what surrounds it. It does not change, does not bend, does not produce life. But a seed, even when buried in darkness, holds the power to break through, to rise, to bring forth something new. Pain can make you believe that hardening your heart is the only way to survive. Disappointments, betrayals, and losses push you to shut yourself off, to stop feeling, to become unbreakable. But a hardened heart is not a strong heart. A heart that refuses to feel, that refuses to trust, that refuses to love is not protected, it is imprisoned. It is only in remaining soft, in remaining open, that growth can happen. A seed must be buried before it can grow. It must go through seasons of darkness, of uncertainty, of transformation beneath the surface before its potential is revealed. Your heart is the same. What feels like burial is not the end, it is preparation. What seems like loss is making way for something greater. God did not design your heart to remain wounded, stuck in pain. He designed it to heal, to grow, to love again. No matter how broken, how bruised, how weary your heart feels, it still carries the ability to rise. A seed does not need perfect conditions to grow, only the right soil. And when you place your heart in the hands of God, no pain, no disappointment, no hardship can stop what he is preparing to bring forth in you. Pain has a way of making everything feel small, your hope, your vision, your belief in the future. When you are in the middle of suffering, it consumes your thoughts, your emotions, and your perspective. It becomes easy to believe that your pain is the biggest thing in your life, that nothing beyond it exists. But no matter how deep your hurt runs, God's plan for your life is deeper. No matter how heavy your burden feels, his purpose for you is greater. Pain is real, but it is not the final chapter. It is a page in the story, a moment in time, not the whole picture. You may not understand why certain things happen, why you had to go through heartbreak, loss, or disappointment. But just because you cannot see the purpose now does not mean there isn't one. God sees what you cannot see. He knows what is being built in the middle of your brokenness. His plan is not to leave you in pain, but to lead you through it. Many of the greatest transformations come from moments of suffering. A seed must break before it can grow. A diamond must endure pressure before it shines. Gold must go through fire before its impurities are removed. Your pain is not meaningless, it is a process, a preparation. What feels like the end is often a beginning. What looks like destruction is often the foundation for something greater. God's plan is not small, and it is not limited by what you have lost. If he allowed you to go through pain, it is because there is something beyond it that he is preparing you for. You may not see it yet, but one day you will look back and realize that even in your deepest sorrow, his hand was guiding you towards something greater. Your broken heart is not the end of your story. Pain may feel overwhelming, but it is not permanent. The wounds you carry have purpose, and what was meant to destroy you can become the very thing that strengthens you. God does not waste suffering, he transforms it. He takes what is shattered and builds something greater. He takes what is lost and replaces it with something better. You are not forgotten. You are not beyond repair. No matter how deep your hurt, how heavy your sorrow, or how uncertain your future feels, God is bigger than it all. His love is unshaken by your weakness. His power is not limited by your pain. If you place your heart in his hands, he will not just heal you, he will restore you, renew you, and lead you into something far greater than what you have lost. Do not let pain harden your heart. Do not let fear isolate you. Do not let sorrow convince you that God has abandoned you. He is near. He is working. And even in this moment, he is preparing something beyond what you can imagine. Trust him. Your brokenness is not the end, it is the beginning of something beautiful. Ladies and gentlemen, I stand before you today with a message that has the power to change your life. There is a woman who does not chase after the applause of men, who does not bow to the pressures of this world, who does not measure herself by fleeting standards. She is different. She is set apart. She walks with a confidence that cannot be shaken, not because she trusts in her own strength, but because she knows the one who holds her life in his hands. She is the woman who puts God first. When a woman seeks God above all else, she unlocks a life that is not controlled by circumstances. She does not live in fear because she knows who goes before her. She does not walk in confusion because his word is a lamp unto her feet. She does not strive to be seen because she knows she is already known by the King of Kings. There are women who spend their lives chasing things, chasing money, chasing validation, chasing success. But this woman, she chases after God. And because she does, his blessings chase after her. She does not have to manipulate or strive. Favor follows her because her life is in divine alignment. This woman understands that when she puts God first, she is never last. She knows that obedience is the key to overflow. She has discovered the secret that many overlook. Blessings are not found in the pursuit of things, but in the pursuit of him. Her strength is not just in what she does, but in who she trusts. Life will bring storms, trials, and disappointments, but she does not waver. She does not break. She stands firm because she knows that when she is weak, he is strong. People look at her and wonder, how does she remain so unshaken? How does she have peace when the world is in chaos? How does she walk with such wisdom and grace? It is because she has built her life on the rock, not on the sand. The storms may come, but she will not fall. She is blessed not because she is perfect, but because she seeks first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. And he has promised that all other things will be added to her. She is the daughter of the Most High, and when he opens a door for her, no one can shut it. Her legacy will not be measured by wealth or fame, but by the lives she touches. Her children will rise and call her blessed. Her influence will stretch beyond what she can see. She is not just living for today, she is building for eternity. This woman does not settle. She does not compromise. She does not beg for acceptance. She knows who she is and whose she is, and because of that, she walks in his blessings every step of the way. When a woman puts God first, her life aligns with his divine order, and everything begins to make sense. She no longer wanders through life confused or uncertain because her steps are guided by his wisdom. The world is filled with noise, distractions pulling in every direction, opinions shaping identities, and pressures demanding conformity. But when a woman seeks God above all, she sees life with clarity. She understands that her worth is not defined by achievements or the validation of others, but by the purpose for which she was created. Her decisions become clearer because they are no longer based on fleeting emotions or external pressures. She is not easily swayed by trends, societal expectations, or the fear of missing out. Instead, she filters everything through the lens of God's truth. She knows when to say yes and when to say no. She does not rush into relationships, career moves, or major life decisions without seeking God's direction. Clarity does not mean she has every detail figured out, but it does mean she walks in confidence, knowing that God orders her steps. She does not panic when challenges arise because she trusts the one who sees the end from the beginning. She recognizes distractions for what they are and avoids detours that would take her away from her divine assignment. This clarity also influences the way she interacts with people. She is not easily offended, nor does she waste time in unnecessary conflicts because she understands her purpose is greater than temporary frustrations. She discerns the difference between people who are sent to build her and those who are sent to distract her. She moves with wisdom, choosing her battles carefully and focusing her energy on what truly matters. Her alignment with God gives her peace, direction, and an unshakable confidence in every season of life. When a woman submits her life to God, she unlocks a level of favor that cannot be earned through human effort. Submission is not weakness, it is the greatest position of strength. It is the act of surrendering control, not in defeat, but in trust. Trust that God's ways are higher, his thoughts are greater, and his plans are far beyond what she could ever imagine. Submission does not mean she loses herself. Rather, it means she finds her true purpose in him. When she yields to his will, she steps into a life where doors open that she did not knock on, where opportunities find her instead of her chasing them. She no longer strives for recognition or approval, because she knows that when she honors God, he honors her in return. Favor is not something she has to manipulate or fight for. It naturally flows when she is aligned with the will of God. Many spend their lives trying to force things to happen, exhausting themselves in pursuit of success, love, or influence. But the woman who submits to God understands that favor is not achieved through striving, but through obedience. She does not have to compete for what God has already assigned to her. Her submission positions her for divine connections. She walks into rooms she never thought she would enter, meets people who are ordained to bless her, and receives opportunities she never even prayed for. This is not because she is lucky, but because she has placed herself under the covering of divine authority. Even in difficult seasons, she remains steadfast because she knows that submission does not always bring immediate results, but it always brings lasting rewards. She trusts the process, knowing that God's favor will never lead her where his grace cannot sustain her. A woman who puts God first does not crumble under pressure because her strength does not come from her own abilities. It comes from the one who upholds her. Trials are an unavoidable part of life, but for the woman who walks with God, they are not a sign of defeat. They are opportunities for growth. She understands that storms do not come to destroy her, but to refine her, to shape her into the person God has called her to be. When difficulties arise, she does not react in fear or despair. Instead, she stands firm, knowing that her foundation is unshakable. The world may look at her circumstances and wonder how she keeps going, but she knows the secret. Her strength is not her own. She draws from a source that never runs dry. Prayer becomes her weapon. Faith becomes her shield, and the promises of God become her anchor. She does not allow emotions to dictate her actions because she understands that God is working even when she cannot see it. Pain does not make her bitter, it makes her wiser. Rejection does not break her, it redirects her. Delays do not discourage her, they prepare her. She embraces trials not as setbacks, but as stepping stones to a greater purpose. She refuses to let hardships define her because she knows that every struggle is producing something far greater within her. Patience, endurance, and a deeper trust in God. She does not ask, why is this happening to me? But instead, what is God teaching me through this? That perspective is what makes her unstoppable. She understands that true strength is not the absence of hardship, but the ability to rise above it with faith, grace, and unwavering confidence in God's plan. A woman who puts God first does not seek influence. Her influence finds her. She does not chase after recognition, yet her life becomes a testimony that inspires those around her. When she aligns herself with God's will, everything she touches carries his presence. And her impact multiplies beyond what she could ever imagine. Her words carry weight because they are rooted in wisdom, not empty opinions. People listen when she speaks, not because she demands attention, but because her life reflects something greater than herself. She does not need to prove her worth. Her character speaks for her. Her kindness, her integrity, and her unwavering faith create a ripple effect that extends to her family, her workplace, and her community. She does not strive for influence through titles or positions. Instead, she simply walks in obedience. And as she does, doors open that no man can shut. She understands that leadership is not about control, but about service. She lifts others up, speaks life into them, and helps them see their own God-given potential. Her influence is not limited by her circumstances. Whether she is in a position of power or working behind the scenes, her presence shifts atmospheres. People find comfort in her wisdom, strength in her example, and encouragement in her testimony. Even those who do not share her faith cannot deny the impact she carries. This influence is generational. The seeds she plants today will continue to bear fruit long after she is gone. She is not just living for herself, she is leaving a legacy. The way she loves, the way she serves, and the way she honors God will inspire others to do the same. And because she has chosen to put him first, her influence will continue to multiply in ways she never expected. A woman who puts God first does not live in lack because she understands that her provision comes from a supernatural source. She does not chase after money, success, or material things. She chases after God. And as a result, everything she needs is provided for her. She walks in the promise that when she seeks first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, all other things will be added to her. Her provision is not limited by the economy, circumstances, or human connections. She does not worry about how things will come together because she knows that God is her provider. Just as he fed Elijah by the brook, provided manna for Israel in the wilderness, and multiplied the widow's oil, he will take care of her in ways she cannot explain. She has learned to trust that provision is not about what she can see, but about who she believes in. She does not live in fear of scarcity because she understands that the resources of heaven are limitless. When others panic, she remains calm. When others hold back in fear, she gives freely, knowing that what she releases in faith will return to her in abundance. She operates with a mindset of trust rather than survival, knowing that God's supply never runs dry. Her needs are met not just in expected ways, but in ways that defy logic. The right people come into her life at the right time. Doors open that she never knocked on. Opportunities appear that she never pursued. What others strive for, she receives through favor. And because her faith is in God, she never begs. She simply believes, and in due time, the provision always comes. A woman who puts God first walks in a peace that cannot be explained by circumstances. Her life may not be free from challenges, but she is free from anxiety. She does not allow fear to dictate her emotions because her trust is anchored in the one who holds all things together. This peace is not the absence of storms, but the presence of God within them. She understands that true peace is not found in external security, but in divine assurance. While others are restless, chasing after control and certainty, she rests in the knowledge that God is already ahead of her. She does not lose sleep over what she cannot change, nor does she waste energy worrying about the future. She has learned that God's timing is perfect, his plans are good, and his presence is enough. When difficult situations arise, she does not react in panic or frustration. She takes everything to God in prayer, knowing that He is her refuge and stronghold. She does not allow the opinions of people to disturb her because her identity is not rooted in their validation. She does not break under pressure because she knows that He who promised is faithful. This peace confuses those around her. People wonder how she remains calm in the face of uncertainty, how she smiles when things seem to be falling apart, and how she continues to move forward when others would have given up. But she knows the secret. Her peace does not come from this world, so this world cannot take it away. It is a peace that surpasses all understanding, guarding her heart and mind, keeping her steady, focused, and unshaken, no matter what comes her way. A woman who puts God first is not just living for today, she is building something that will outlast her. She understands that true success is not measured by wealth, status, or accomplishments, but by the impact she leaves behind. She is intentional about the seeds she plants, knowing that her faithfulness today will bear fruit for generations to come. Her children, both biological and spiritual, are shaped by her example. They watch how she prays, how she loves, how she stands firm in her faith, and how she walks with integrity. She does not just speak about righteousness, she lives it. Her actions become a blueprint for those who come after her. She teaches by doing, demonstrating that a life surrendered to God is a life of true abundance and purpose. Her influence is not limited to her own family. Everywhere she goes, she carries an atmosphere of wisdom and grace. She lifts others up, speaks life into broken places, and mentors those who are searching for direction. She does not seek to be famous, yet her impact is undeniable. She may not always see the results immediately, but she knows that every life she touches is a part of the legacy she is building. She walks with the understanding that righteousness is not just about personal holiness, but about leaving a mark on the world that reflects God's glory. The decisions she makes today will shape the future for those who follow. Even after she is gone, her prayers will still be working, her influence will still be felt, and her faithfulness will continue to bear fruit. She is not just living for herself. She is leaving a legacy of righteousness that will echo through generations. The woman who puts God first does not live an ordinary life. She walks in divine favor, strength, and supernatural provision. She does not fear trials because she knows they only refine her. She does not chase after success because she understands that true fulfillment comes from seeking the kingdom. Her peace is unshakable, her influence is undeniable, and her legacy is eternal. She is not defined by the world's standards, but by the God who called her. She does not beg for validation because she knows she is already chosen. She does not shrink in fear because she understands that when she moves in obedience, heaven backs her. She does not waste time on distractions because she is focused on purpose. This woman is unmovable, unshakable, and unstoppable, not because of her own strength, but because of the one who goes before her. And as she continues to put God first, she will walk in blessings that no man can take away. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. I'm so grateful you have joined me today. And I can't wait to dive into something that has the power to change your life. A man who stands alone is not a man who is lost. He is a man in the making. He is a man undergoing preparation, a man refining himself, a man walking toward his destiny. The world will tell you that you are incomplete without a woman by your side, but understand this: no man was ever created to be completed by another human. A man must be whole before he can give himself to another. Great men in history, leaders, visionaries, inventors, achieved greatness not because they were distracted by relationships, but because they were consumed by their purpose. When you lack a clear vision, loneliness creeps in, and you begin to mistake companionship for direction. But a relationship should never replace your vision. It should enhance it. The danger in seeking love before purpose is that you will expect a woman to give you what only your destiny can provide. A woman is not your solution, your calling is. If you are idle, you will seek fulfillment in romance. But if you are driven, you will use your time widely to build, to grow, to evolve. A woman should meet you in the middle of your mission, not become your mission. The power of being alone is that it grants you the focus to become the man you were created to be. It is in solitude that wisdom is born, discipline is strengthened, and vision is sharpened. No man who is lost in his purpose ever feels empty. But a man who drifts without direction will always feel incomplete, no matter who he is with. Some of you feel pressure from society, from family, from friends who tell you that you need a girlfriend, that you need someone to make you feel loved. But a man who knows himself, who knows his worth, understands that love is not something you chase. It is something that aligns with you when you are ready. If you force love before preparation, you will sabotage your destiny. There is no rush. The right person will come at the right time. And when she comes, she must find you already moving, already thriving, already becoming the man you were created to be, because no woman wants to follow a man who has nowhere to go. A man's true fulfillment does not come from temporary pleasures, but from discovering and living out his purpose. Many chase after companionship, relationships, and momentary satisfaction, thinking these will bring meaning to their lives. But the reality is that pleasure without purpose leads to emptiness. A man can have all the affection in the world, yet if he lacks direction, he will still feel lost. Pleasure is immediate, but purpose is eternal. Pleasure demands nothing from a man except his time and energy, while purpose requires sacrifice, discipline, and focus. A man driven by pleasure will always be at the mercy of his emotions, chasing after what feels good in the moment rather than what builds his future. He will seek validation from others rather than seeking growth within himself. But a man who pursues his purpose understands that his true value is not defined by how many people love him, but by how effectively he fulfills his assignment in life. There are men who spend their best years distracted by relationships, seeking comfort instead of calling. They invest their strength into fleeting moments, thinking they are living, when in reality they are delaying their destiny. The greatest men in history were not led by their emotions, they were led by vision. They knew that discipline and self-control were more valuable than temporary pleasure. A man who prioritizes purpose does not chase relationships to fill a void. He builds himself to become a man worthy of one. When a man places purpose above pleasure, he becomes unstoppable. He is no longer swayed by loneliness or the pressure of society. He understands that pleasure may entertain him for a moment, but only purpose will sustain him for a lifetime. A man must first be whole before he seeks to join his life with another. Too many men enter relationships hoping that another person will complete them, believing that love will fill the gaps in their identity. But a relationship should never be a remedy for insecurity or a solution for personal struggles. A man who is not whole within himself will bring brokenness into any relationship he enters, expecting another person to fix what only he has the power to heal. Wholeness is not about perfection. It is about self-awareness, growth, and emotional stability. It is about knowing who you are, understanding your values, and having a clear sense of direction before inviting someone else into your life. When a man is whole, he does not seek love out of desperation, but out of readiness. He does not rely on another person for his happiness because he has already cultivated joy, peace, and fulfillment within himself. Many relationships fail, not because love was absent, but because wholeness was never present. When a man lacks identity, he becomes dependent on a woman to define his worth. He expects her to validate him, to give him purpose, to make him feel significant. But this is a burden no human can carry. True love does not come to complete a person. It comes to complement an already complete individual. A man who is whole before he enters a relationship brings stability, vision, and strength to it. He does not demand love as a means of survival. He offers love as an extension of his completeness. He does not cling to another person to avoid loneliness. He stands firm in his own purpose and invites a partner to walk alongside him in it. Many people confuse loneliness with being alone, but they're not the same. Loneliness is a feeling of emptiness, a longing for connection, a craving for someone to fill a perceived void. Being alone, however, is a state of independence, a season of growth, a space where a man can develop himself without distraction. A man who understands the difference will never feel pressured to chase companionship simply to escape solitude. Loneliness comes from a lack of purpose. When a man has no direction, no vision, and no deep connection with himself, he seeks validation from others to feel complete. He surrounds himself with people not because he values their presence, but because he fears his own. But a man who embraces being alone understands that solitude is an opportunity, not a curse. It is in moments of isolation that wisdom is gained, self-discovery takes place, and the foundation for greatness is laid. The greatest men in history had seasons of solitude before they had seasons of influence. They were not afraid to stand alone because they knew that isolation was preparation. They built their minds, disciplined their habits, and sharpened their focus while others were distracted by the need for company. A man who is comfortable being alone is a man who cannot be easily swayed by the opinions of others. He does not rush into relationships out of fear. He enters them from a place of strength. A man who has mastered being alone understands that his worth is not determined by who is around him, but by who he becomes in the absence of others. When he does enter a relationship, it is not out of desperation, but out of choice. And that choice is always made from a place of confidence, not insecurity. A man's ability to focus determines the level of his success. When a man is single, he has a unique opportunity to channel his energy into building himself, mastering his craft, and pursuing his vision without distraction. Focus is the force that turns potential into power, but too many men trade that power for temporary pleasures, scattering their attention across meaningless pursuits instead of directing it toward lasting achievement. Focus requires discipline. A man who lacks discipline will always find himself drifting, pulled in multiple directions by entertainment, relationships, and social pressures. He starts projects but never completes them, sets goals but never reaches them. Without focus, greatness remains a distant dream. But when a man is intentional about his time, when he guards his mind from distractions, he steps into a level of productivity that separates him from the average. Every great achievement in history was the result of a man who was willing to focus. Whether in business, innovation, or leadership, the men who left a lasting impact were those who resisted the temptation to be everywhere and instead committed to being excellent in one place. They understood that focus is not just about doing more, but about doing what truly matters. A man who is easily distracted will always fall behind, not because he lacks talent, but because he never fully applies himself. A focused man is dangerous because he is unstoppable. He moves with clarity, acts with precision, and refuses to waste time on things that do not align with his purpose. When a man harnesses the power of focus, he steps into his full potential, becoming a force that cannot be ignored. A man who creates, builds, and achieves at a level that others only dream of. A man's greatest asset is not his wealth, his connections, or his physical strength. It is his character. Character is the foundation on which true success is built, the substance that determines whether a man will stand strong in adversity or collapse under pressure. Without character, talent is wasted, relationships crumble, and opportunities slip away. Many men chase after status, love, and recognition before they have developed the integrity to sustain them, only to find themselves losing everything they worked for because they lack the internal strength to manage it. Building character requires discipline, self-awareness, and a commitment to personal growth. It is about developing honesty when no one is watching, cultivating patience when things do not go as planned, and practicing self-control in moments of temptation. A man who prioritizes character over external success understands that it is not enough to achieve great things. He must also become the kind of man who can be trusted with greatness. Character is what keeps a man grounded when life offers him power, wealth, or influence. A man who builds his character first is a man who cannot be easily shaken. He does not need validation from others because he is secure in his values. He does not compromise his principles for temporary gain because he understands that true success is measured by who he is, not just what he has. When a man lacks character, every blessing he receives becomes a burden. Every opportunity turns into a test he is not prepared to pass. Every decision a man makes either strengthens or weakens his character. Choosing discipline over laziness, truth over deceit, patience over impulse. These are the decisions that shape him into a man of substance. Without character, everything he builds will eventually collapse. But with character, he creates a legacy that endures beyond his lifetime. A man must understand that a woman is not designed to complete him, but to complement him. Many men enter relationships believing that love will fill their emptiness, that a woman's presence will solve their problems and make them whole. But no human being has the power to complete another. Wholeness is an individual journey, and a man who expects a woman to be his missing piece is setting himself up for disappointment. A relationship should be a partnership, not a dependency. A man should not look for a woman to heal his insecurities or to give him purpose. If he has not yet discovered his own identity, no relationship will fix that. A woman is meant to walk beside a man, not to carry him through life. When a man understands his purpose and has built himself into a strong, stable individual, he attracts a woman who adds value to his life rather than becoming the reason for his existence. A man who seeks completion in a relationship will always feel dissatisfied because no matter how much love he receives, the void within him can only be filled by personal growth, self-discovery, and alignment with his purpose. A woman can support a man's vision, but she cannot create it for him. She can encourage his dreams, but she cannot give him direction. That responsibility belongs to him alone. The strongest relationships are built between two whole individuals who come together not out of need, but out of purpose. A woman should be a companion in the journey, not the reason for the journey. A man must first establish himself, build his foundation, and understand his mission before seeking a partner, ensuring that when love does come, it is not to complete him, but to complement the life he has already built. A man's greatest frustration often comes from wanting something before it's time. He sees others in relationships, building families, and finding companionship, and he begins to wonder if he is being left behind. But what he fails to realize is that timing is everything. Just as a seed does not bear fruit the day it is planted, a man must go through seasons of preparation before stepping into certain blessing. Rushing into something before the right time does not accelerate success. It only invites unnecessary struggle. There is a process for everything in life. A man who tries to force love before he has matured will find himself in a relationship he is not ready for, carrying responsibilities he cannot handle. The weight of commitment is not for the unprepared. If a man has not built himself mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, he will not be able to sustain what he so desperately desires. Many relationships fail not because love was absent, but because the foundation was never strong enough to hold it. Patience is a test that many fail. They grow weary of waiting and settle for something beneath their purpose. But a man who trusts divine timing understands that waiting is not wasting time, it is preparation. Every delay has a reason. Every closed door is protection. And every season of singleness is an opportunity for growth. A man who embraces this truth does not rush to prove anything to the world. He focuses on becoming the best version of himself so that when the right person comes, he is ready. The right relationship, the right opportunities, and the right breakthroughs will always come when a man is truly prepared. Instead of chasing what is not yet meant to be, he builds himself so that when his time arrives, he is equipped to handle the blessing with wisdom and strength. A man who understands his purpose, builds his character, and embraces his season of growth is never truly alone. He is in preparation. The world may pressure him to seek validation in relationships, but he knows that wholeness comes from within, not from another person. He does not chase love to fill a void. He becomes a man so complete that love finds him when the time is right. True strength is not in seeking companionship out of desperation, but in standing firm in one's identity and vision. A man who places purpose above pleasure, discipline above distraction, and focus above fleeting desires will never be lost. When he finally steps into love, it will not be to complete him, but to complement the great man he has already become. The waiting season is not a punishment, it is a gift. It is a time to grow, to build, and to prepare. When a man embraces this truth, he stops asking, when will love come? And starts asking, am I becoming the man who is ready for it? Because the right woman will not be drawn to a man who is searching for himself. She will be drawn to a man who has already found his purpose. So stand tall. Walk boldly, live fully. A man who is complete within himself will never need to chase love, because in the right time, love will align with him.